You wake up and feel that familiar heavy weight in your chest. You pour endless hours into a brightly lit screen. You desperately hope for a meaningful digital escape. You really believe your online creativity will eventually set you free. Yet, as you navigate this modern digital economy, you realize the harsh reality of the internet is deeply grounded in raw, unforgiving economics rather than pure innovation.
You remain stuck on a digital treadmill that never actually stops. 2. You assume working harder is going to change everything. You hope the algorithm finally blesses your exhausting efforts. You chase success while the horizon constantly fades away. However, the true tragedy of our modern age is this deep silence about the massive financial reality dictating your screen time. 3.
So we really have to ask, who actually owns the internet today? The source points out a tiny handful makes all the money. 4. They profit from material produced for practically nothing. You're literally building their massive platforms with your own blood. Meanwhile, these internet moguls easily avoid the traditional treadmill of paying for content, hiding behind complex algorithms in immense wealth. 5.
You might honestly think the internet's a vast, free library. You expect to access brilliant art for absolutely no cost. But creators can't spend their entire lives working for free. They can't simply pray for their expensive content to miraculously go viral. The text argues we're locked into an inefficient advertising model, replacing the utopian vision with a highly profitable corporate illusion.
Principle 1 is the demystification of the digital altar. You must recognize that technology is fundamentally an engine of the market. We've got a very strange collective ability to avoid discussing cash. You're constantly told technology transcends traditional economic rules. But you've got to stop treating the internet as a pure, magical realm, because this analysis reframes our view by exposing the real financial motives.
Every single digital platform eventually answers to its wealthy shareholders. These tools are explicitly designed to maximize profit above human connection. They gladly go to global banks to handle their massive IPOs. We need to deliberately shift the blame away from cultural elites. The text argues you aren't a free agent in a vacuum, but rather an unwitting participant in a high-stakes financial game orchestrated by billionaires.
Principle 2 demands the refusal of passion-based digital exploitation. You must actively reject the toxic idea that loving your craft justifies constant precarity. You find yourself working around the clock with absolutely zero security. The modern economy forces a brutal separation from your physical survival. You feel compelled to do this simply out of passion, but the source insists this mindset only fuels your unfair pay. 9.
Think about how Steve Jobs presented himself as a humble artist craftsman. The text critiques this carefully curated image as a highly profitable lie. 10. This shiny artist label is utilized to justify your constant economic precarity. It conveniently hides the complete absence of a real social safety net. When you justify your vulnerable position with your specialness, you lose the vital connection to other precarious people struggling today. 11.
Principle 3 focuses on the architecture of collective bastions. The real challenge is finding a way to anchor yourself by proactively building small institutions. The source argues that your modern digital isolation is completely intentional. This engineered isolation forces you to market yourself merely as a personal brand. You're frantically clicking around, but escaping this designed isolation is absolutely critical to becoming a true agent at 12.
Building small magazines or creator groups aggregates your actual economic power. True influence only ever emerges from combining our economic strength together. These collective efforts provide a necessary buffer against brutal, unpredictable market forces. They actively help you resist the relentless corporate logic of the web. Accountable institutions give you breathing space to focus on endeavors beyond mere branding, standing as our only true defense. 13.
Principle 4 addresses the physicality of the networked soul. You must acknowledge that the internet is actually made of heavy physical stuff. We've got to finally shatter the persistent myth of a weightless, invisible cloud. The online and offline worlds aren't separate realms at all. Your digital identity in a late-night chat room is deeply tethered to a very demanding and resource-hungry physical reality. 14.
The internet relies on an immense and heavy physical infrastructure. You've got to look at the massive cables buried deep under the ocean floor. Every single click utilizes real energy and relies on tangible mined materials. The source highlights how planned obsolescence drives this market while systematically emptying your wallet. Gadgets are deliberately manufactured to break, so the national GDP keeps going up, treating e-waste as an economic virtue.
We really need to stop viewing the internet as a perfectly invisible cloud. The cloud is literally just someone else's computer sitting in an air-conditioned warehouse. Technology doesn't transcend the basic, fundamental laws of our economy. We must have deep respect for the massive power of these global markets. Financial commentators happily ignore this physical money, but understanding this dense material reality remains your only practical path to freedom.
Principle 5 centers on the demand for a public commons. We must actively articulate a politics that has real, structural freedom at its center. The text directly challenges the ubiquitous libertarianism found in modern tech circles. We're constantly sold the shiny, appealing idea of the lone free agent. But this framework will never lead to a truly egalitarian digital sphere, forcing us to prioritize our shared culture. 19.
The text outlines concrete steps to reclaim this digital public commons. The author argues we must absolutely reject the inefficient digital advertising model. 20. Public broadcasting models can be edgy, provocative, and totally free from corporate control. Real change inherently requires universal healthcare and a guaranteed basic income. Only a robust social safety net allows for true human creativity by permanently unlinking your basic survival from endless digital labor. 21.
As you evaluate your daily digital habits, remember to build your own collective strength. Because in this hyper-connected economy, isolation is the ultimate enemy.